Alrighty. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing today? Hope you're well. Okay. I think you guys can see me okay. Hey, Jamil, nice and early today. Hey, Jumirinas, good morning. How are you doing? Hey, Diana, how are you doing? Good morning. Hope you're all well. Hope you all traded well last night. I was totally done with my trades yesterday after the US yen, or after the session yesterday. Didn't bother looking at the markets at all. Hi, Kel D-Bomb, how are you doing? Thanks for that, Diana. Hey, Lindy, how are you doing? Yeah, I mean, well, one is this. Well, not that I didn't expect any good setups, but I just thought, did well in the morning/afternoon. Was just gonna take some time out and not look at it, and then came back to it today. This morning afternoon did a Aussie trade, small Aussie trade to the downside, and nothing else so far. Not feeling particularly pressed to enter any other trades, unless it's a really good setup comes around. Hey Jimmy, how you doing? Alrighty, I didn't find anything good. Yeah, didn't look like there was any good setups. I mean, I did a review this morning and I thought it was good that I didn't really try to trade last night. Okay, so if you are on the session, if you're new to the session, if you're new joining us, do drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. For all the regulars, a big welcome back and thank you again for joining me. If you have any questions at any point in time, please remember to put into the chat and let me know. And you can help me out massively by remembering to click that like and subscribe button. With all that said, a quick disclaimer: any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. Please do your own due diligence, as the contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, as your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Now, with that said, take that away. Market preparing for big news. Yes, there is. Not today. There is a big news on Thursday with the Fed funds rate. I don't think it's going to do too much, or rather surprise markets too much, but maybe that's what market is preparing for, so we look forward to that. Okay. Let me see. Hey Nev, good morning, how are you doing? Okay, just share with you this first. This was a trade I did on the Aussie. It was coming, I mean, we talked about this yesterday, where it was going to come down, bounce off this level and push up. Last night, it came down to the trend line, bounced off, went up. I did not get into that trade. But this morning, what I was looking at was that as it was breaking that trend line, so I missed this move. This move to the downside was because of the retail sales number from the Aussies. It was a 0.3, got revised downwards to a 0.2. Expected a 0.2, came out at a minus 0.4. Right, so very bad retail sales number there for the Aussies, going from a positive 0.2 to a negative 0.4 month to month. That's why we saw the Aussie dollar go from 6,560 within the hour down to 6,543. Because of that, what I was trying to do was trying to take a quick scalp on. I got in at 6,541 actually. I got in at 6,541. had a 30 pip stop and then a 30 pip take, right? Just trying for that move down. As it pushed, so within the next hour, as it pushed lower, I put that to break even. I break even, but I won't put it there yet. And then as it pushed lower again, at this point, where was it? At this point here, no, yeah, 1 o'clock, on the close of the 1 o'clock candle, so at 2 o'clock, I looked at that and I said, okay, 18 pips, time to think about it. So I moved this down. I can't do it here, but I moved this down to secure some profits. And then halfway through, I closed out at a 22 pips profit here on the Aussie dollar. As usual, I wanted to close out the trade before I jumped onto this live stream. Right, so that was my 22 pips on the Aussie to the downside. Nothing super exciting there, but just taking a small move from a small trade or small profit from the relatively small move down on the Aussie. Okay, what does the BB show? It was outside, right? So it was, let me just put that back in again. 6541. So I moved that to break even. That popped out at the 2 o'clock timing, but around that point when it's outside, I closed out for about 22 pips there. Okay. Hey Christina, how you doing? Good afternoon. Hey Angel K, it's good to see you again. So yeah, there was a thought that I was looking at, and I was considering whether it could go down to 50, down to this point here, right down to this point here, or even this point here. That's why I was thinking, yeah, I could try it for 50 pip, take profit. But what I was also watching is not just the Bollinger Band, but I was also watching this point here where it bounced off. So I just thought I'll close out. If it continues trading lower, then I could look to sell it down further after that. Okay. So that was the Aussie, or that was my Aussie from earlier today. With that, then let's look at some of the news that happened since the last time we spoke, which is nothing. Which is nothing, right? We knew this already. There wasn't any big news after our session, so we didn't expect any big movements. Another reason why I didn't look at the charts, I went off and did something else. This morning we did have some yen news, didn't do too much to prices. We had the Aussie retail sales number, which we spoke about already. Interesting thing that could have driven the Aussie down, could have caused could have led to the Aussie driving down lower as well, is because of the Chinese manufacturing PMI went from a 50.8 to a 50.4. And not in that contractionary phase yet, but you can see manufacturing PMI in China based on the data slowing down, right? Non-manufacturing PMI going from 53 to 51, getting to that borderline level of maybe tipping into the contractionary phase later on, right? So that's what could be another reason, because the Aussies are one of the biggest trading partners with China. So could be another, I didn't factor that one in too much. I was more focused on that, leading that drop on the Aussie to the downside. And then we had all these which I didn't even pay much attention to. It is the GDP number for the French, retail sales number for Germans, Spanish GDP, Italian GDP, German GDP. When it comes to looking at the Eurozone or the Euro data, I don't focus on the individual countries. I kind of want to look at the Eurozone as a whole, so I don't focus on the individual French, German, Italian, Spanish GDPs. So I kind of let that slide and let that go past. One thing to look out for today would be the CPI number, right? The CPI number for the Euro. Hang on a second. the CPI number for the euro. Not expecting a big change, but you're looking at core CPI flash estimate, which excludes food, energy, alcohol, and tobacco, looking to go from a 2.9 to a 2.6, a slight slowdown in inflation growth on the core CPI, while CPI on the flash estimate looking to stay at 2.4. Ultimately, I think that we might see a little bit of a push to the downside on the euro, but I don't think it's going to be super significant, this news. Hi Ayakami, how are you doing? Dinah saying good to watch the CAD pairs. Yes, well, we do have CAD GDP to be released today, so we will pay a bit more attention to the CAD. Nice close on right time. Yeah, I just got a bit, I was watching the Aussie, so I closed it out as it popped out. It also does help, like, you know, when I know that I have something to do, I want to close it out and kind of all aligned. What else was I going to go? I'm not too bothered about that. And consumer confidence for the US slowing down a bit. Okay, so coming down to the CAD GDP to be released at 8:30 p.m. GMT plus 8, it's looking to go from a 0.6 to a 0.3. If it does get to a 0.3, from memory, I'm just trying to think of what the CAD numbers were before. But I think from memory, we're probably looking at quite likely a slowdown in GDP numbers for the CAD, might bring about some weakness on the Canadian dollar, or the loonie. And then there was a headline I was looking for. Oh, you got lucky loonie there. No, where was the headline I was looking for? I should start saving these headlines when I see it. Okay, I can't find the headline now, but never mind. Hey Robbie, how you doing? Hey YJ. Hey Christopher, good morning, how you doing? Okay, so with all that said, then tomorrow we have the Kiwi, the New Zealand, with their employment change quarter on quarter, 0.4 to 0.3, while unemployment rate looking to go from a 4 to a 4.3. So we're possibly looking at, if employment change does go from a 0.4 to a 0.3 and unemployment rate goes to 4.3, we're possibly looking at not very good news on employment for the Kiwi, which could lead to some weakness on the Kiwi dollar, something to look at. Also driving down from what we just looked at on the Aussie and Kiwi moving in relative tandem. And then holidays. Oh, so no live stream tomorrow. Just a quick reminder to everyone, no live stream tomorrow. ADP non-farm 184, 190, 179. Maybe it's hard. I think this month, I feel that this month's ADP or NFP number is going to be quite difficult to guess. Right, quite difficult to guess because we have had a whole mix, a whole variety of data being released or employment numbers being released. It was mixed. So I don't actually look forward to this ADP too much. And then on Thursday, we have the Fed funds rate to be released, not expecting a change in rates. Where on the CME Fed Watch 2, back to this again, where pretty much the same at 97.3% chance that we're looking at a rates staying on hold at 5.5%. So that's not a big surprise there. Okay, so ultimately a whole bunch of news today, but not super major critical news that I would focus a lot on. I'll look at a CAD. I probably won't be trading that much today, just looking at how markets are moving, but maybe I'll look at a CAD later tonight, and then tomorrow I won't be. I was going to say that I would look at the Kiwi with the employment numbers, but at 6:45 a.m. it's unlikely. It's unlikely that I'll look at that news. And also, if I were to try and catch that after it's happened, we're probably going to be looking at a bit of a bounce or a bit of a slowdown. Big move, if it does come out at 4.3, would be at that period as it's released. Okay, so with that said, then looking at the charts, we talked about this yesterday. It did not, right? Where were we? We were right here. We were right here, and I was thinking that, okay, if it breaks this level, it needs to break this support level, support area, to head down, right? It did not do that. It did come down. It did come down to test again, but it held. You can see this level, this whole area held. It's bounced off once, twice, 3 times, and now the 4th time bouncing back up, right? So it dropped, but not as much as we thought, but it did bounce back up to the range, to maintain or keep within the range. So what I'm actually thinking, remembering that there's no major news for today, especially for the dollar, I'm thinking that it might stay within this range, might continue to stay within this range. Okay. Hi Amir, how you doing? Hey Stefan. Okay, so now looking at this, okay, today being the 30th, end of the month, Labor Day tomorrow. I'm looking at this. I'm actually thinking that, alright, take this ones away first. It's just, these circles are distracting me. Alright, I'm actually thinking that if the dollar index does break through from 1.0594. Okay, what I'm looking at is this. Thinking that the dollar index could come up to range here, but I'm looking for that push up. Yeah, okay. So what I mean by that is the dollar index possibly some upside. What am I doing? Okay. Hey Mohammed Hossein, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the session. Okay. Further upside to 106 area needs to break 106.10 to climb to 106.40. Jimmy says, fill the gap up this morning. Where's the gap? Oh, yeah, sorry. What long night. Okay. Fill the gap. I don't see a gap up from this morning. I actually think, yeah, so that's what I think is going to happen. It's going to come up here, bounce around, and then if it does break above 106.10, which is at 61.8 level, we could see it break up towards the resistance level of 106.41. So looking at some dollar strength to continue back up. 105.65. 105, or this one. Oh, so Jimmy thinks that it's going to do that and then maybe push back up or back down. I don't think that, I mean, I see the gap there. I don't think it's a huge one. And that's why I think I'll keep to that view. Oops. Just looking at this, I think that would be reasonable. That's fair, that's fair. Yeah, okay, I'll keep to that. I'll keep to that. But what needs to happen here is it needs to come back into this range. It could, I somewhat agree with what you are looking at, Jimmy. Filling the gap could happen if it fails to break above this area, which is that 105.95 level. If it fails to break here, then it's going to come back down. But I think more likely, or what the scenario I'm possibly looking at, is for a push to the upside. Right, so it needs to break for the upside. Yeah. Add to that and say, well, I think that's fair. For the upside to 106 area, break 106.10 to climb to 106.40. Looking at some dollar strength to come back into play. I'm somewhat thinking now as well that what if there's a head and shoulder here? Right? If not that, then a shoulder like that, and a shoulder like that, and then if it breaks down, we could see that move. What do you think? Head and shoulder? Ugly head and shoulder? Or a continuation to the upside? Hey Erwin, how are you doing? So I think I would still think of that. I'll still keep, okay, I'll keep to that. Then onto the Kiwi. Right, we were right there yesterday. Did not push the Christopher says ugly head and shoulder. Not Christopher. Kiwi did not push down and push up, so you would not have triggered that trade. Take that away. I would say that now, same like the Aussie, given that it's broken lower, we move this to the top. Put in 38.2, which is right there. That trend line is done. You could be looking at that. Not the best trend line there. That's a resistance now. Okay, so what you're possibly looking at here on the Kiwi is if it breaks lower, downwards this way. 5930. Oh no, 5925. Stop loss 20 pips. Take profit. I wouldn't go for, you can go for 20. I would say that you could go down to 60 with an idea that there might be a hesitation at this point here, 59. Okay, so Kiwi, what am I doing? No, it's not. Okay, Kiwi, we're looking to sell at 0.5925, stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the downside. 5925, stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the downside with a hesitation at 0.59. That's what I've been looking for. Right, on the dollar strength scenario. Then onto, and as it breaks that trend line, Aussie dollar. Okay, that would have gone up. You could have entered that trade. You could have lost 20 pips on the Aussie. So that, then I would have sold it down and made it 20. But, if anyone got onto the Aussie buying it up, let me know. If you hit a stop loss on that. Aussie now at that level done. 38.2 is down here. That trend line is done. I think shifting it wouldn't make any much sense. What I'm thinking here on the Aussie is a bit of a bounce. 23.6 and then turn back down. So same thing. Looking for this actually. Yeah. Looking for this to test and reject back down. I was thinking why I paused is I was thinking whether it could break up 38.2 and push higher, right? Whether it could be a trade or setup that looks like that. 20 pips and then that 60 pip move. But I'm just thinking that would mean that you need to break that high, and that, look at that pushing down. Maybe Jimmy, you got that pushing down. Maybe actually, since we have the Kiwi for a potential sell, we could look at the Aussie rising back up. Okay, so we're looking at this as a bounce back up that way. 6550, 20 pips, 65 to the upside. 6550, 20 to 65. All right, I kind of like that. So we're covering our bases there on the Aussie and the Kiwi. Diana's asking for Kiwi CAD. Yes, we can do that, of course. Look at the yen, right? So yen was that whole craziness that happened yesterday. We spoke about this as a bounce. We spoke about that. That happened on Monday, where just before our session, pretty much we saw the intervention come around. And then it bounced back up. This was a trade that I think some of you might have hit your stop loss on as it pushed down. This was during our session yesterday. So fortunately and unfortunately, I did not get into that trade. So it bounced back up. It failed. One thing to watch out here is how the yen. Okay, I don't like that chart like that. Okay, how the yen failed many times to break below that 155 support level. Right, failed many times to break below that 155 support level. I don't need that anymore. So with that move down, you can see that it climbed back up. I don't think it's 50. Climbed back up to this middle point. I think it's 50 on this. No. It climbed back up to this middle point and it's set there. A lot of indecision, a lot of talk and questions. I'm pretty sure that this was an intervention from the Bank of Japan. Right? I'm pretty sure this was an intervention from Bank of Japan as it tested that 160 range and then came back down, and we saw sitting there and big spike down. Pretty sure that's an intervention. There was a question in the Discord group where is this an intervention as well? I don't think that was an intervention. I think that's a move down and then a bounce and then market sentiment causing that pull back down again. Kind of coincided with the Euro market opening. So, they opened, they saw the news about the intervention. They were just riding that wave down, right? So it pushed down again, it failed to break and bounced back up. So what I would say here is this is more likely the intervention, and then that's just bouncing around in this area. Unfortunately, I actually think that there might not be another sustained move to the downside for the yen. Okay, what I mean by that is if we go back to the last time we're at 152, where it got to 152, you see that push down, and after you see that push back up, and then that was a bit of the yen and the dollar index pushing it down. And then again at this point where it tested, pushed down, and then pushed back up a bit before pushing down again. This was more talk about the dollar being weak than the intervention from the Bank of Japan. So we're at that same kind of level spike. We're going to possibly see that push up a little bit. We want to see, I think I wrote about this several times already, any downside, any further downside or sustained intervention or sustained correction on the yen will possibly come. It cannot come just from the Bank of Japan's intervention. It should come together with a weakness on the dollar. Okay, so we can take that away. We don't need all that. I definitely don't need that. Okay, I'll keep that. Okay, so back to the H1 time frame. What I'm looking at here, and I would not be looking to actively trade the yen right now. Right? I made money on the way up. I made money on the way down. I haven't done anything in the middle here. Why? Because I think that yes, there might be a bit more of an upside move, but it's going to be weighing down. There's going to be a heavy weight. It feels like there's going to be a heavy weight on the US yen trying to push it down, especially if it fails to break above this 157 level. If you're a bit more aggressive, you could be looking to sell down from this point, right? I would say that maybe a better option will be to, I can take that away, will be to do nothing at this point now, unless it breaks below 150. Do nothing, right? Unless it breaks below 150, so 154, unless it breaks below 155, sorry. So 154.80, stop loss 30, take profit 110 to the downside. Okay. If it pushes up, I probably wouldn't be too keen on that. We have 160 up. I'll keep that one as another resistance. Okay. So any upside, I wouldn't be looking to do anything. Maybe a quick scalp if it breaks above the resistance up, but most likely not going to do anything. What I'm looking for is for it to sit there, bounce down around, and maybe come back down this way. Okay, so US yen, chill. Right, I'll chill for now. Ultimately, I would only look to sell at 154.80, stop loss 30, take profit 110. There we go. Okay. Just thinking if it breaks up. Jamil's in the pound. We'll look at pound shortly. Range, Naren range, it's saying month end moves distorting, yes. Better to wait for opportunities, or definitely. I'm actually thinking, why I'm hesitating, why I'm thinking now is we might have that, or I think this is a bit of a higher risk move. A higher risk move is to look for it to test 158 and reject to sell down. Right? I think this is a high risk move because if it breaks past, that's quite likely it's going to continue up. But we're looking at selling opportunities. 157.80, stop loss tight, 30 pips. Take profit. If it rejects and sells down, you could be looking at quite a significant move to the downside. That way. Okay, but yes, I am ultimately looking to either go from here, test, and then push down. I wouldn't do anything in the middle here. Break down, look to sell here. If it pushes up, look for rejection to sell down, or if it goes up there, again, I'll look for rejection to sell down. Like that. 159.20. Stop loss 30 again. Take profit will be 115, and then further down again. Right, so look, wherever it goes, I'm just looking to sell it down, looking to sell it down, looking to sell it down. If it breaks past that and all the way up, then we're going to have a new price discovery. I wouldn't rule out another intervention to come. Okay, then on to the pound dollar. All right, we spoke about this at this point, which is going to test the trend line and push up. It did not come down to the trend line to test and push up. It sat there. This was where we were. Pretty much sat there, pushed down a little bit, sat there and spiked up, right? Pushed up. So not into that. That did not trigger a trade. Now looking at this, dragging up to find that turning point. I kind of like this. Let me just adjust the lines a little bit. Catch these levels. Okay. And Jamil was saying he was in a pound buy. Hang on, let me just check something again. Okay, the US is open tomorrow, so we might still see quite good liquidity tomorrow. It is pushing up. I would say, my view, I actually think that it's a little bit early to be buying it up. But I can see where you're going with that. And I'm thinking at this point here. Okay, so yes, there looks like it might come down and push back up. Which, if that does happen, right, we're looking at a Kiwi, not doing too much. Aussie looking like it might bounce, so that might signal some dollar weakness scenario. US yen is mixed. Pound dollar, if it pushes up. Let me just check euro first. Euro is doing what we thought, right? Come down, test, bounce around. It's actually look. They say come down, test, bounce up, move up to this point, come back down, test, bounce back up, and then break. So I think I'll cover the areas here. Pound dollar, I think it's a little bit early, looking for that bounce to trade it up. This is a 30 pip move. I can wait for that. So I would say that 1.2575. Stop loss, I wouldn't put it to 40. I'll go there. I think I would keep this very tight because I'm not entirely convinced about how it's going to push up. I don't see a big reason why the pound dollar is going to push up that much, right? But it is being supported on the shorter term. So I'm looking at this as pound dollar 1.2575, stop loss 20, take profit 70 to the upside. I think it's very similar to what we had yesterday. 1.2575, yes. It is very similar. 1.2575, stop loss 20, take profit 70 to the upside. Okay. Then on to the euro, doing exactly what I wanted to do. I'm trying to expect it to do. Right, bounce down, test, staying within this area, looking, so I take that away for now. Looking for it to come back into the area, test and reject the resistance back down again. Ultimately, I can take that away, I think. Ultimately, I think what we're looking for is that it breaks that level. Okay, so test, reject the resistance to turn back down. 1.0710. Stop loss will be tighter, 20 pips. Take profit, I don't see 90 pips. I don't see 90 pips. I'll say take a bit nice nearer term, back down to that 61.8 level at 45. Yeah, okay. 1.0710, 20 to 45 to the downside. Sell 1.0710, stop loss 20, take profit 45 to the downside. This why we're covering our basis in terms of the different setups, like sell Kiwi, buy Aussie. Okay, sell Kiwi or buy Aussie, buy pound or sell euro. You should never be buying Kiwi or selling Kiwi and buying Aussie because it does tend to move in a similar fashion. You shouldn't be looking to buy pound and sell the euro because they do tend to move in a similar fashion as well. So this is an either or and an either or. It all depends on how the dollar index is going to move, whether it's going to spike down, like Jimmy says, to cover the gap, or to move up, consolidate, and continue higher again. Okay. I haven't forgotten your Kiwi CAD, Diana. I'll get to that shortly. US Swiss franc pushed down and then went back up, did not trigger that trade. I have too many lines here. Take all that away. Don't need that. That's fair. Keep that, keep that. That's going to stay within the range, the resistance. Not particularly keen on the Kiwi, on the Swiss. I think that's going to come up towards the resistance, but it's going to consolidate along 9150. Okay, so nothing on the US Swiss franc. We're looking for it to climb to 0.9150 and possibly consolidate. So I'm not too keen on that. Then onto the US CAD. It did not push down. It did not push down to our support. So why didn't it push down to our support? Yeah. So Dinah was just saying, look at the US Swiss franc. What a choppy chart it has been. It's just shadows and tails and wicks and all kinds of stuff. Even the last 2 hours, it spiked up and come back down. It's just doing all kinds of stuff. It's super choppy. It looks like it might even do. It looks like it might even do a bit of that, but we're just looking for reaction there. Then onto the US CAD. That trend line is broken, so I don't need that trend line. Can I revise that? Still, well, I can keep that there just as a bit of a reference. I think 50 is well and truly broken, so we don't need that. Now at this point, we're looking at this CAD news. Oh, forgot about that. Right, so CAD news. So I was trying to figure out why is the CAD sitting there being a bit weird. Remember, we do have CAD GDP to be released tonight. And the CAD GDP does tend to swing quite a bit. What I mean by swing quite a bit, it goes from, 0.2 to 0, minus 1, 0.1 to 6 to 0.6. Now 0.6, expected 0.3. Could drop a little bit more than expected as well. PM's asking about gold. I will get to that shortly. Now looking at this, that means that if the CAD GDP is weaker than expected, then we're going to see the CAD weaken. We're going to see the Canadian dollar weaken, which means that we will be looking for a push to the upside, confirming that break of that trend line. Hence, we'll be looking at about 1.3725. Stop loss would be about 20 pips. Take profit would be up there about 50 pips. Back up again. Now checking this point. I know that's done. 38.2 will be an interesting level. Yeah, buying above that resistance for the US CAD. I could even go a little bit lower. 3720. Stop loss 20. Take profit 55. Breaking above not just the resistance but also that 38.2 level, confirming a break of that trend line, pushing up. It does look like it's going to take a little bit longer. Dollar index looks like it's pushing down slightly. That's fine. Okay, so now we're looking for this to buy. 3720, 20 to 55, 1.3720, stop loss 20, 55. Take profit 55. Okay. Then we'll look at gold. Wait, hang on, let me go back to that one. Could it come back down a little bit and then push back up? It could, but I wouldn't enter anywhere in between. Okay, that's fine. Then onto gold. Gold is dropping. Gold is dropping. Why is it doing that? Gold ready? No. No, 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 no. Okay. No. So PM's question about why is it moving down now? No big reason. I don't know the big reason why it's been moving down. Dollar, if anything, dollar is pushing down slightly. So gold should be moving up. But like I think over the last week, I was saying that the correlation between, as much as dollar index would have a negative correlation with gold, over the last recent periods, dollar index and gold hasn't had the correlations quite well in place. So what I'm looking at here, if it does push, it's breaking a trend line, so I don't need that. If it does push down, is it a move away from reserve? No, I don't see anything about gold. Pushing back down, I wouldn't do anything yet. That's a nice round. I know we have this point here, but that's a nice round number at this point at 2300. US 10-year yield is going up. That would be a good reason why we see gold coming back down. Thanks for that, Jimmy. Take that away. We're probably going to see gold needs to break below 2300 to head down to 2266, which is just an interim kind of overlap area here. So I think I'll keep that. Nothing on gold right now. It's a bit fresh, the move. So we're looking for it to go down to needs to break 2300 to trade down to 2266. Okay, there we have it. Dollar index is pushing down slightly. If it goes past it's just coming back down to test that level a little bit. If it goes past this point, I still think it's okay. Might fluctuate a little bit. I still think that we might see a bit of a push up. Then on to, we're not done yet. We've got Kiwi CAD. Do I have it here? There we go. All right, Kiwi CAD. We've done that. Let's take away. That's done. Clear out those lines. Those are really old lines. I have a point here as a support. I have a point here as a resistance. I have a trend line here that's holding prices, pushing back up. I am looking at this back higher. Checking this point, it's bouncing off 50. Okay, let's come back down, bounced off 50, pushing back up. If the CAD weakens tonight, that could push higher. If you are not already in the trade, this might be like Diana was saying, this has a potential for a short. I'm actually thinking that if the CAD weakens, we could see this push up. I was thinking of that. 15 pip stop, 30 pip take to the upside. If the CAD, maybe what you can be looking for, right? If CAD weakens, you look for this to push up to get some dollar strength, and then if the CAD does not weaken, I'm just looking at that point here as how it's bounced off. So if you want to short this, Diana, you would have to be looking for it to break below 8125. You'll be looking at 8117 or 8118. Stop loss 8118. Stop loss no more than 15. Take profit, it could come back down to 30. Like that. I don't think that there is a lot of space to move on this. I actually would say that it's right in the middle of that support and resistance. It wouldn't be an H1 kind of trade. I will possibly look at this more on an M15 kind of a setup. Then if that happens, I'll be looking at this. If it breaks above this point, then you'll be looking at M15, quick short-term trades, 8135, stop loss, 15 pips, take profit, you could go up to 30 that way. Or if it reverses and breaks down, then you can be looking to sell it down this way, again 15 to 30. So it's right in the middle there. It's right in the middle there. On the small time frame, you could be looking for that. You could be looking at a straddle for a 30 pip move either to the upside or downside. If you're looking for upper to go up and sell down, Kiwi is looking like it might bounce a little bit. I think I still wouldn't do that. I think that the opportunity on the Kiwi CAD lies within this area. I think that if it pushes up and the Kiwi does push up, then we might see if that breaks past that resistance level. So I think that the opportunity lies in here for the short-term 15-minute kind of trade. Pound dollar is flying. Okay, it's not really flying. It's moving up slightly. It's moving up slightly on a 5-minute time frame. Still looking for that push up. Good spot there, Jamil. No worries, Diana. And then on to the Aussie. Very glad. Sometimes it's just really, taking profits and getting out. So I'm very glad I got out of that trade. Again, that was 541, yes. So that was that break-even trade, and I got out at about 22 pips there on Bollinger. Right, and this is also the reason why I like to close out my trades before I jump onto a call with you guys. Because if I didn't close out on that trade, I'd be like, oh, hang on, like, jump in and make a rash decision to close out my trade. And now it's bouncing. So I'm glad that I closed that out. Looking for it to push back up. Okay, so with all that said, I'll tell you that I think that will be interesting to me on the Aussie US. Yen is just nothing for now. Pound dollar bounce back up and push up. I might not be the most keen on that. I'll probably be a bit more keen on the euro to the downside. That one's just a mess. I'm not going to do anything there. USCAD, looking for that push up. Okay, so again, please remember, before you jump off, help me click that thumbs up, click that like and subscribe button. I appreciate that massively. For everyone, please enjoy your Labor Day, May Day, Labor Day holiday. No stream tomorrow, family time, and I will see you all not tomorrow. I'll see you all on Discord. If not, then on Thursday, same time, same place. I like your yen chart, potential buy and sell. Yeah, I wouldn't do anything. I'll just be looking in the middle at those kind of setups. Take care now, everyone. I'll catch you again. Thanks, joining us. See y'all.